Ooh, hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review uh, Captain America Brave New World. I guess that's what they're calling it. It's not Captain America, and it's also, I don't know, the Brave New World thing. Let's just spoil that right off the bat. Near the end of the movie, it's almost like, I think that the person who played the news reporter in this movie, like, this movie was so, like, thrown together like a Frankenstein monster that it feels like the news reporter was used to just shoehorn in exposition at any point that they needed to, like, stitch the story together, because there really wasn't like a main story here. It was just like a bunch of random shit stories thrown together, and every once in a while you'd hear the news reporter, "Oh yeah, and also I am here to tell you that actually this is happening now." And so the news reporter, he says at the end of the movie, because people are using adamantium, that it's a brave new world. I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, what does that mean? It just doesn't mean anything. And that's, like, one of the big problems with this movie is that, like, you call this movie Captain America, even though Captain America isn't in it. And it's like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, this movie is the definition of MCU slop. In this movie is straight up slop. It starts off, and I want to be clear, I haven't seen Captain America in the Falcon, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, whatever the fuck that was called. I'm not watching that. I don't want to watch that at all. I have no interest. So some of these characters, I don't know who the fuck they are. One of them, they had this, he's called the Forgotten Captain America, and it's so hilarious because this just shows how bad the writing is. And the acting, too. Or, I don't know, I feel bad for the actors because, I mean, it's not their fault that the story sucks. They reshot this movie like a million times because they couldn't decide what they wanted the movie to be. And that's always a good sign, by the way, is that, like, oh, instead of trusting the vision of the scriptwriter and the director, let's just reshoot a movie over and over and over and over again and just do whatever and just kind of throw it together, because that's how movies are made. Right, guys? That's how real movies are made. Let's just go back and spend millions and millions on reshoots and just keep doing that until we get a quote-unquote real movie. And the result is this. This is an actual line in a real movie. And it's said in such a way to where it's like a casual, like the most casual way possible that you could say this bizarre line. The United States government locked me up and experimented on me for years. Like, that was like the funniest line of the movie. And later on in the movie, another character says, he was locked up by the government and experimented on for years. And, like, that's the level of writing that they did for this movie. Or I should say probably rewrites. Is that, like, very, very... Because it's like, when you reshoot and redo parts of a movie over and over, eventually everything gets watered down. The original intent, the original story, everything that it was supposed to be gets watered down. Because at that point, you've lost the pure idea and the pure vision of the movie, if there even was one. And it's really funny, too, not to make this about me, but I was originally going to release my first ever movie tomorrow, Valentine's Day, February 14th. And you know what happened? I had to get rid of my main co-star my first co-star, because she was a problem. She was taking over the movie. She was basically trying to change the whole movie. She would look at something that I did and say, like, no, let's just reshoot all that and completely redo it. And it's like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are coming on here and trying to fuck my movie up. And so at a certain point, I was almost going to go with that and going to just let her ruin the movie and just completely, like, change everything. And just, I mean, she was also, like, coming up with new scenes too, like, oh, actually, I want to do this and that. And when I would ask her, like, what that scene would entail, it was just like this very bare, basic, like, idea that was basically like the equivalent of a TikTok video. And she probably used AI to come up with these shitty fuck ideas too. And so it's really just funny to me that after I decided not to go with that shit version of my movie and I decided to do it the right way, it's really funny that instead of that, you get this Captain America movie that is exactly like a Frankenstein's monster type of a movie that is just completely strung together loosely, like there was no real vision for this movie, and it was almost like made by committee. And another thing I have to say is the fact that this movie, it makes Endgame worse. And all these new MCU movies are making Endgame worse. You know, I was never really a big fan of Endgame. I thought that it was pretty overrated. I liked the setup for the movie, like all the stuff until they went back in time. But once they went back in time, I felt like it was like a no-stakes, like roller coaster ride, like a fun kids ride. I didn't really feel like it was a great, like, in-game movie, whatever. I thought it was very anticlimactic and poor. And the worst part of the movie, though, was at the end of the movie when all of the male heroes had to pass off their what did they call that? Like, Spider-Man, Batman, the mantle. They have to pass off the mantle to the young and diverse, like, Disney quota characters. And that included, like, Thor saying that Valkyrie can be a woman king, and then Captain America saying that Falcon can be Captain America. And I was one of the only people who said, this is garbage. This sucks. It's going to suck. We're not going to get good movies. This isn't good. This isn't a great idea either, by the way. Like, Falcon is not Captain America. Like, Falcon is Falcon. And he's good, but he's Falcon. He's not Captain America. Valkyrie is not a king. She would be a queen. And look what happened after those pass-offs. You get shit fuck Thor 4. Ugh. Part of my lunch just came up and it just stuck to the roof of my mouth. What the hell? See, that's what this movie was like. It was like just a bunch of random moments like that strung together. And then this movie, Captain America 4, quote unquote, it was also terrible. So it was just like I predicted. Endgame sucked. And the way that it ended with, like, passing off to people who don't deserve the mantles, it also just, it proves my point that, like, those were bad ideas. I don't know, people acted like it's so emotional and perfect. It's exactly what should have happened. No, it's not. Even if they made Bucky Captain America, I still would have had a problem with it, because he's not Captain America. He's Bucky. He's the Winter Soldier. He's whatever. I don't know what they turned him into either. Like, he's like, I don't even know what his character is. Like, what was that thing that he became in Infinity War and shit? Remember that? Remember that weird person that he became? He became, like, the White Wolf or the White Ghost or something. Like, what even was that? Is that, like, a comic book character? Like, what? Remember, like, Black Panther was, like, the White Wolf Look, it's the white wolf over there. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about, a white wolf? It's Sebastian Stan, like, basically his character is like a whiny emo teenager still, after all these fucking years, after he already went through the Winter Soldier arc and Captain America 2 and 3, he is still like a whiny emo teenager bitch. And then you have Sam Wilson. Oh my god. They had this opening fight scene, this like, it was a little mini mission. And that's what this whole movie felt like, by the way. It was like Winter Soldier Jr. And it was like full of all these little Captain America Jr. missions. And so, the very first fight, though, with Sam Wilson, it was so bad that I started to laugh at the movie. Like, the fighting looks so fake and phony, and just watching this guy, like, parade around as, like, quote-unquote Captain America just made me want to throw up. I could not take it seriously at all. And watching people call him Captain America, I don't know what they were thinking. And also, another thing that this movie does is the Sokovia Accords are completely off now, I guess. So Civil War is now for nothing. That was all a waste of time. The music in this movie was terrible. It was loud, obnoxious, and it reminded me more of Indiana Jones than Captain America. That's another weird thing that they did with this movie. I kept on feeling like they were trying to tribute Indiana Jones, because I guess the main villain of the movie, the brain guy, at one point he's got this like hat on, and it was like they were trying to make him look like the bad guy from Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then at another point, he's wearing like this hoodie and sunglasses. And it was like they were trying to make him look like the Unabomber for some reason. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. See, there were just so many conflicting visions in this movie and conflicting ideas. There was no unity. There was no, like, singular, pure vision. The movie was very fractured, fragmented. It felt very much like a TV episode. It was very all over the place. And now let's talk about one of the side characters who's, I guess she's supposed to be the Black Widow of this movie, if this was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And let's just call her IDF Minnie Mouse, because she's basically like a midget IDF agent bitch character. I don't know why they're putting genocidal bitches like her in movies, or genocidal Israeli characters in movies. I thought that Disney was on the right side of history, but apparently not. So they have this IDF Minnie Mouse character. I would still smash. I would still Hulk smash her, though. She... There's this random part in the movie, and it's never brought up or explained again. But there's this random part where they're in a hallway with all these bad guys, and IDF Minnie Mouse just comes out of nowhere, and she's got a black and purple leather jacket on, and she beats up this hallway full of 200-pound men, and it was almost like they were trying to copy the Black Widow from Iron Man 2 sequence. You know, the hallway sequence with her, where she beats up all those guys, and it's just like showing off like, this is Black Widow, after the rest of the movie where she's just in like a suit, jacket, whatever. So that was bizarre. They never brought that up again. They never brought, like, there's not even any like line like, oh, why are you wearing that, or something. It's like, she's not even like, I guess she was supposed to be like a genocide superhero, but she doesn't have any super name in the movie. She just randomly has like a leather jacket with purple in it. There's no explanation at all for like why she has this outfit or anything. It's just completely like out of nowhere. And speaking of like Black Widow, since it's 2025, you know, we can't obviously have any sex appeal in movies anymore, especially Marvel movies. And so there's no sex appeal to the character. So it's not even like, oh, well, she's the sex appeal. She's the Black Widow character where she's sexy, but then she'll kill you. It's like, no, she's just boring, generic, genocidal agent who has a jacket that she wears sometimes. Also, it took me like 70% of the movie to figure out who the bad guy was. Like, halfway through the movie, I didn't even know if the brain guy was supposed to be the bad guy. And then also, 80% of the way through the movie, after they already know that the forgotten Captain America was mind-controlled, the news reporter is still saying that he's going to face the death sentence. It's like, why? Okay. And the big fight between Sam and Red Hulk is a joke. It's basically like 5 minutes. It's really bizarre. It's just really, really stupid and not a great fight sequence at all. It's just really silly. I mean, he's not even like... I mean, this doesn't even really feel like a Captain America movie at this point. Like, he's wearing all these different pieces of armor from different heroes, and it almost feels like a metaphor for how much the movie is like a Frankenstein's monster. And, but the way that this fight ends is that he talks Red Hulk down like an after-school special. He says, "You could punch me and kill me with one hit, but you don't want to do that because it's bad and wrong." And then all of a sudden, the Red Hulk catches a petal off of a cherry blossom tree, and he changes back into being a human. And it's like, I think another thing that they did to sabotage this movie, I don't know why they advertised the fight between them so much. Because I really feel like it was a letdown. There wasn't really any main villain. The movie it did not feel like a movie. It felt like a TV show episode with all these dangling plots that didn't fit together at all. And this fight sequence between Red Hulk and Cap was just not it at all. And then at the end of the movie, the forgotten Cap gets let out randomly. He literally got forgotten in this movie. Like, they called him the forgotten Captain America. Well, the filmmakers literally forgot about him as the movie went on. And then, yeah. And then also just the fact that, like, the main villain, I guess, the brain guy, he's supposed to be the main villain of the movie. He's a Hulk villain, apparently. And that's just another thing of, like, why is this called Captain America when it's literally not a Captain America at all? I mean, all this movie did in terms of, like, try to be a Captain America movie was... It was like they took all this random shit that wasn't really for Captain America, and then they tried to make it feel like Winter Soldier. So, yeah. They also had, like, a token Falcon. Like, a token white guy Falcon who was, like, the sidekick in the movie. He was a terrible character. He was awful. He was abysmal, but everything about this movie was abysmal. In terms of food, this movie is like, what if you go to a beloved restaurant that's been serving, like, a famous burger for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden they take that famous burger off the menu that everyone likes, and they say, here, you can eat a turkey burger instead. That's what this movie is. It's the turkey burger of Captain America movies. It destroyed the series, too. I mean, people talk about, oh, Captain America's a perfect movie series. Not anymore, guys. Not anymore. So please like this video and comment. Tell me what you thought of this terrible, terrible MCU slop movie. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.